Hey guys, Ben here. So let's talk about ease of use, making something easy to use. Depends on your market, depends on what you're trying to do, but for the most part, ease of use usually is an afterthought with most things being made. It's how cheap can I get it? How useful is it? How much can I do this, that, the other thing? And then interaction with it is kind of an afterthought, unless it's literally your first thought, like a website, where the whole thing is interaction. Usually, if you go onto an industrial website or something, it's replaced by the horror of whatever website they decided to go with, and it's hard to navigate, and you can't really find anything, and it doesn't look good, and blah, 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 because functionality is not the important part. They're selling something significantly more valuable than that. People are looking for them. It's not the other way around. They're not begging for customers. People are finding them. And I think that the more expensive the process is, the more specialized it is, the more money to be made in the field, you have people that are just willing to throw money at it. In the oil and gas industry, you're pulling up, hundreds of millions of dollars at a time. So it's just kind of whatever money I have to throw at this problem to get that money as quickly as I can and as efficiently as I can. And the only reason why you're dealing with efficiency and time is because that's money. They know how big these wells are when they dig them, they hit them, they have equipment that can detect how big these reservoirs of oil are underground. So as soon as you drill and you hit something, you know how much money is in there. And so now you have a budget to literally just throw money at the wall. Let's say there's $100 million worth of oil in a well, and you want to make 50% on it. Well, you have $50 million. Go. You can do whatever you want with $50 million. All you have to do is get that oil out of that well. That is a lot of money. That is a lot of money that can be passed around to a lot of people. Not just for manufacturing, but for engineers. But I want to focus more on the user. And maybe that seems backwards. I do keep filming things. I've filmed a lot, actually, this past 2 or 3 weeks. But I just haven't liked any of the videos. I haven't even really rewatched them. I definitely haven't edited them at all. But I might do this one. And I might cut in a clip right here that I just recorded yesterday. I met a salesman today, and he started his own machining company. And he's making parts for the company I work for. And he has, I think, almost 5 machines now. He has one on the way. And I was kind of picking his brain a little bit. And he was telling me about sales. I tried to get him to talk about his machines, but it ended up going with sales because he used to be a salesman. And he was kind of telling me, I asked one question. I only had time to ask one question. But I've been trying to talk to everybody that I can, just because I truly believe that people is where business lies. And it's where I can learn. And so I had one question to ask him. I asked him about his specialty. I decided if I was going to ask, I needed to ask something that he knew about. How do you get clients? That's what I asked him, because that's what I don't know. I need to be kind of a bit of everything if I'm going to start this company myself, right? Hopefully I don't have to start it myself. But I have to have an idea of how the whole company works if I'm going to be a CEO, right? At the very least, if it's going to be my company, I want to know how it works. He spent 5 minutes just telling me how he gets clients. And it was a long story, but I always try to take what they say and sum up a lesson from whatever that person is talking about. Learn at least one thing. But basically, I summarized the story in my head as, if you show your clients what they're going to be saving, what they're going to be doing with your product, why they need your product from a money perspective, it's basically going to sell itself. And I think that's real easy for him to say. No offense to him, but I kind of don't even think he's like a remarkable salesman. He's a great salesman, but I don't think he's like the best salesman on the planet. I don't. He's a very personal guy. He's everything that I know about being good at sales. He's assertive. He's like the alpha male, but he's still approachable. He's kind. He smiles. Blah, blah, blah. Everything you'd want out of a salesman. So I know he's a great salesman. He obviously started his own company in manufacturing. But I don't think he's the best. He just was selling a really good product. It sells itself. If you make something where it's legitimately going to save people money, companies money, guess what? They're going to invest in it. It's a simple math. Anyway, I've been trying to talk to people more. See you guys in the next one. If I can figure out why and how adjusting the user interface for a CNC machine is valuable, I think that's going to be the selling point. And I think it's going to sell itself. That's what Apple does. They put the users first, the interaction first, and then the technology that they produce just goes into making that a better user experience. It's not the other way around. Apple is very backwards in their sales tactics. Whereas Microsoft has parts, they have components, they have technology. They look at it and say, all right, what can we do with this? How can we make a product out of this? How can we sell this to people? When it's so much easier to look for what people are looking for and then develop something with the technology you already have into making that product that they want. It sells itself. I would like to make a CNC machine more accessible to real people. I still think that there is a skill to it. I still think that there is going to be a lot of human interaction. I am not the guy personally to be adding AI and stuff. There are some things. I have a rudimentary knowledge of how AI works, and I would like to implement AI in some aspects, and I know nothing about it. So if you know stuff about AI, let me know. I know there are like Arduino-sized boards now that are specialized for AI thinking, and you can, I don't know how much those are, but I know that they're not millions of dollars. I have some ideas, but I think that this is something that I need to hyper-focus on, is the user interaction with the machine and making that a more pleasant experience. Not just a more pleasant experience, but I need to protect my investment kind of thing. Because if I'm a regular guy, how can I open up the market? How can I make this market bigger? Because right now, even if I did make CNC machines for your garage, I'm only targeting people that are CNC machinists that have the confidence to buy $10, $20, $30, $40, $50,000 machine and trust themselves enough to make profit off of it. I think the market that Tormach and the likes of them are targeting is people like that. And that's not even to mention the fact that they might not have the space in the garage. They might not even have a house. It's such a small window that they're targeting. What if I could open that up? What would that take? Well, I still might need to have the space for it. But even if I didn't have, I think the biggest way I could open that up is, what if you weren't a machinist? What if you started looking into deductive manufacturing and you wanted to get into that because of additive manufacturing, and you're not happy with the quality of additive manufacturing? Where do you go? What do you do? See, not only do I need to make this product, but I need to be specific and target the people that I'm trying to make this thing for, because they might want it and actually not know it exists because I'm not marketing it right. If I need a battery for a Nerf blaster and all I know how to do is type in battery for Nerf blaster, what's going to come up? It's the people that are targeting towards that. But what if there's some way better battery that no one in the Nerf community knows about that you just haven't looked up yet? I need to be conscious of the market that I'm aiming for. So what would that user experience look like if I was going to drop $50,000 on a machine? I'm an average American. I have space in my garage. I'm into 3D printing. I'm a maker. Ooh, the maker community is way bigger. That is a way bigger market. I'm a maker. Maybe I make some money off of the stuff that I do. Maybe I have a 3D printing farm. And I'm realizing that I'm a one-man show. I might have a company that just sells 3D printed stuff for whatever field that I'm in, for whatever commissions I can get. Maybe that's how I started. But that 3D printing is really limiting my market. So I start looking into other options. There's more advanced versions of 3D printing. SLS machines are pretty much as advanced as you can get in 3D printing. That includes, I kind of include that in the metal printing category, but trust me, you're not affording a metal printer. At least like the industrial ones. I don't know if there's a commercial available one that is only $10,000. But I mean, the SLS machine I'm thinking of is the Fuse 1, and that's like 10 grand at the very least. If you want just the machine, which you don't want just the machine, it's 10 grand. The whole setup is probably like $25,000. That wouldn't shock me in the slightest. Oh man, I would really love one of those. If I'm being perfectly honest, I would kill for one of those. So easy. You think of all the post-processing, and that's something that a lot of people don't think about, is it's not just you hit a button and then you pick up your part and you have your part. That's not how any sort of manufacturing works. That is never how manufacturing works. And if someone made a machine that could do that, that would be absolutely insane. It's getting that way with 3D printing, where you can just download a file, upload it, hit go, and then you're done. But you still have to troubleshoot the printer. You still have to be involved with it. That's where I want to get with CNC machining. I want to make that more like the usability of a 3D printer while maintaining the deductive manufacturing. It's a lot more complicated process. I think it would still be involved. I would have to make tutorial videos on pretty much everything. But I mean, that's a community to build. And that's what I want. I want to help people. I want to build a community. That's one of the goals of Ade.LINE. So I'm okay with that. That's something I'm passionate about too. We can start a group kind of like Apple, where it's like, I don't want to say cult, but I mean, like, we have a very specific goal. And I feel like that's more specific than your machinist who's in the industry who wants to start a manufacturing business. I feel like that's not the goal. I want to have one of these machines, it pay for itself, me make a career out of it, but I don't want to just like do production. I don't want to just make 10,000 parts of the same freaking thing over and over again. I feel like there are people that are more well off that would love to get a machine like this. But guess what? You spend $50,000. You know nothing about machining. Do you know what kind of stress you were under when you got your first 3D printer? If you have one. Or maybe you're thinking about getting one. There's a very highly likelihood that if you're watching this video, you're one of those two categories. And it was so much, or it's going to be so much anxiety of, man, I've done a lot of research, I've done a lot of prep, I've done a lot of thought, I've done a lot of head knowledge here. But without an actual 3D printer in your hand, there is that thing in the back of your mind that's like, am I spending $500 on a paperweight? And that is a lot of money For someone like me, that's a lot of money. For someone younger than me, that is a lot of money. Imagine doing that with a $50,000 machine, where it's more complicated, and it relies on you. And guess what? If you tell it to crash into itself, it 100% will. Without a moment's hesitation, it will annihilate into itself. If you hit the wrong button, if you forget to leave out one line of code, and then bam, there goes your $50,000 investment. Can't do that twice. So it's scary. I need to calm people's nerves in that specific category. I need to be super focused in on trying to target that market. And I hope this doesn't sound malicious, but like if I'm going to do something that succeeds, I'm trying to be a salesman, I'm trying to be manufacturing, I'm trying to be an engineer, I'm trying to think about aesthetics, I'm trying to think about usability, I'm trying to think about pretty much the entire process of this machine and how I'm going to market it and how I'm going to actually make it. This, I haven't even gotten to the actually making part, which is going to be the hard part. This is the easy part. But if I'm going to do this, I need to be willing to work harder for what I want. If I really want this, I need to be willing to work hard for it. I need to be willing to put in the hours. I need to be passionate about it. I don't want to make a $100,000 CNC machine. I do. That's a lie. What I mean is, I want to make a $50,000 machine that isn't a freaking toy. It's not a toy. You can make money on it. That $50,000 starts looking like a business plan and a loan from the bank. That $50,000 is within your reach. Because I don't want to make a toy. Oh, God help me, I don't want to make a toy. You can make something that resembles a part. If it has plus or minus 10, who cares what the surface finish is? If you're trying to make something aesthetic, it probably doesn't matter. But you're not trying to make something aesthetic. If you want something aesthetic, stick with 3D printing. I'm serious. If you want a keychain, stick with 3D printing. If you want something that's actually, you can actually sell to people, something with actual tolerances that you can hold, someone gives you a print, a company says, I need this made, and you can hold those tolerances enough to say, yeah, I can make 100 of those. And you know that your machine's not going to scrap 50% of them. And you can do it in a reasonable amount of time after work. You can keep your day job. That sounds like something that sells itself. And I want to try to figure out how to get there with the technology that we already have. Because guess what? I'm not smart enough to come up with that technology. I need something that's patentable. Period. If I'm going to protect myself, I need something patentable. I kind of want to get a large format 3D printer or something of that kind and literally print an entire machine. Get the rails and the ways off of eBay and stuff like that. Make a machine that's actually working, that's moving. It's not going to cut anything because it's 3D printed, but just get the idea working, get everything in position. Then you can start ordering castings from places that have foundries, that have proper equipment. That's just one avenue of like realistically making this thing. I haven't gotten that far yet because I've basically done research for this for the past 5 or 6 years. It really hasn't left my mind. I'm downloading so much information into my brain, trying to compare so many data points, and I'm almost there, but I think I could learn more. Literally just the design of my machine. And there's something to be said about one person that can see the whole process all the way through. That is a significant advantage. The more people in the chain, the harder it gets. And I'm not saying I don't need help. I definitely need help. I need a lot of help. I need a lot of help. But if I have the vision for the thing the whole way through, and I can guide people, if I can guide 3 people and they all guide 2 people, maybe I do need that much. I don't know. I've never done this before. But God help me, I think it's possible. I think it's there. I've been talking to so many people in my job lately. Since I started working again, I was out of a job for 4 or 5 months. I'm not proud to say that. But I started working again probably like 6-7 weeks ago, something like that. And since then, I've had a significantly different approach to my job, and I'm not going to go into that now. But one of those differences is I'm paying attention to the people who come in and out of the shop more. Because I've had the fortunateness of having 5 different machines delivered while I was working at whatever company. 5 different machines being set up. People coming in and out of the shop who do nothing but work with these machines, who do nothing but setting these machines up. And I get to just pick their brain because guess what? They're just sitting there doing their thing. And as long as they don't mind me bugging them, and usually they don't, because like any guy who's working on something like this, if you ask them about something they're interested in, then they can chatter all day. It doesn't matter who it is. And so the past couple weeks, I've had probably like 3, 4, 5 different people that I've talked to. And it's been as small as a 3-5 minute conversation, and it's been all the way up to an hour or more. And I just stop and I listen, and I ask them basic questions just to kind of feel them out. I have to turn this into a science or I can't do it. Social interactions, I mean. So I probed a little bit, I gauged his responses, and then I figured out, I assumed what I would imagine to be his most interested part of the knowledge that I'm looking for. I singled out what information I wanted from them, what I assumed that they would be passionate enough about to give me a solid answer, something that they've thought about before. Something to utilize their experience. Something that sounds really intense, but something to extract their experience. So I would ask them a question, and it would be a very thoughtful question. Maybe I would interact with them, I'd walk away, go back to my job, and just think about it. What am I going to ask this guy? And I would ask one question. I limited it to one question, one serious question, where I said, basically my pitch. I'm a guy, I have a dream, I want to start a company, and I'm finding out that everyone wants to start a company. Everyone has an idea. Everyone is doing their own thing, and it's always stuck in the dream phase. It's always stuck in the phase I'm in right now, where it's, oh man, I really wish I could do this. You got to actually do it. That's what I mean by I got to work for it. I got to actually do it. At some point, I got to stop planning and just do something. But it all takes money, and I don't know what I'm doing. I'm never going to know what I'm doing. I have to get out of that mentality. So I'm asking these people questions. It is 90 degrees in here. So I asked these people one question, and it varied from person to person. I talked to the CEO. I've been very fortunate to be around a lot of CEOs. 3 CEOs in the last 4 years. Like actual conversations with, like relationships with. Something I would consider to be some sort of relationship, even if it's just business. This company, I have not been there long enough to formulate any sort of relationship. I know my manager. I've worked with him for the past 4 or 5 years. That's it. I'm brand new on everybody else. I'm very fortunate to have someone there that I know, though, especially for someone like me. I really appreciate that. But I'm trying to treat this job a little bit differently. I'm trying to grow up a little bit and figuring out what that looks like for me. I know it's late. I'm 31, but like I've always kind of been late to these parties. any sort of social growing up, any sort of thing like that. If it's not making, I'm kind of slow learner. I'm kind of a slow learner. See what I mean? Maybe I'm going to do all this and it's going to fail. I have to be willing to do that. That's what an entrepreneur is, right? Entrepreneur. They can't be afraid of failing. You're going to fail a lot. I think I have a gift to learn a lot of lessons from a single mistake. I try not to pull out. I focus on the bad things, and that's not good for my mental health. But it does let me learn a lot of lessons. I'm making something, I cut something in half, a Nerf blaster. I try to glue it together, and guess what? If it fails, I thought a lot about it first, and I have a lot of experience already, a lot of failures already. But guess what? If it didn't work, then I stop and I try to learn as much as I can from that one mistake, and then I move forward and I do it again. And that's the only way you're going to learn. I've tried to start a business before with black steel props. That's over. This is going to be Ade.LINE, and I'm going to try to do that. I got to get my finances in order. I have to actually make an LLC. I have to pay for things just to have an LLC. I have to figure out what my finances are. I have to write things down. I have to talk to people. I can't do this alone. I cannot start a company by myself. Anyone can buy an LLC, start a 3D printing farm. But how far is that going to get you? I would rather do this slowly and correct. I prayed for the hard path. I asked for the long road. I asked for the hardships along the way, because I know the reward at the end is going to be significantly greater than if I took the easy route. It sucks right now. It sucks. I feel lost. That's the worst part about it. Forget how I physically feel. I feel lost. But I know that if I can pull through this, I'm going to come out the other side better than if I took the short path. And I feel like the second I stop taking the hard path and I start going, okay, I have enough information. Now let's get going. It's going to be a balance. I can't take the hardest path because I'm never going to get anything done. But at the same time, there is a right way to do something. What do I do? Well, I know 3 CEOs in the past 5 years. So what have they done? I have access to one right now. He's doing what I want to do, where you have one person who owns like 51%, and then I think there are 3 other owners, and they all have equal portion from that 49%. That sounds perfect. That sounds exactly what I wanted to do. So what is he doing? What did he do? Well, I'm not comfortable asking those questions yet. But hopefully I'll get there. I gotta be personable. Gotta do a little bit better. Let's wrap this video up. It's going on too long. For the record, one last thing. I am definitely leaving Nerf. I think I want to get rid of basically all of my blasters. I like my Sledge Fires. I like my Strifes. I like my Hyperfires for their stock. And that is pretty much it. I think I'm just going to put them up on Craigslist. But if you guys want anything, if you see anything you like, go ahead and let me know. I have a Stratohawk somewhere. I'll keep my Gallahorn even though it's huge. I have a new in-box Fortnite grenade launcher. That would definitely be local. I think I'll keep some things like my crossbow. Just because, like the sledge fire shells, I have like 60 sledge fire shells that are stock. The hassle alone of just trying to get all of those together over the years, I don't think I'm willing to sell them. Even if I sold them $5 a pop, 60, that's $300. That seems like a lot to the buyer and not a lot to me, because I don't think you could find, I think you would be hard pressed to find another singular person that would have that many, let alone willing to sell them. Maybe I'm being mistaken. It's just not worth it. It's not worth to sell them, because I'd have to sell them for like $100, maybe. And that is definitely not worth it, because you can just 3D print them. I don't know. If a crazy offer came up, I mean, they're gone. They're toys. But, and I have dreams, man. If that can buy a tool, forget it. It's gone. But yeah, I think it's just time. It's not where my passion is anymore. So I think I need to move on. I know it's hard. You have stuff from your childhood that reminds you of being a kid. Not only that, but you get to tinker. It's everything. If you're a creative person, Nerf could be everything. But it's kind of everything. And you don't really want to do anything else. And I want to do other things. I want to move on. And maybe I'm letting down some people that helped me along the way in Nerf. I feel like that's just me talking. But I think I need to move on to better things. Really should not keep my FDL out here. And I just realized it's out here. That's good. It's not good that I kept the battery in there for 3 months. Oops. But at least it's not going to corrode on me now. It's very moist out there. Anyway, I'm going to end the video. It's going to get hard to edit. I'm already going to have to go through like 45 minutes of footage. I'm going to stop apologizing for my own thoughts and my own documentary. Thank you guys for watching. That's really all I have to say. If you found any portion of this enlightening or entertaining, I guess, would definitely be the wrong word. Leave a comment that tips over things. That helps. Liking the video, that's really easy. Notifications, because it's been like 3 weeks since I uploaded. And before that, I was uploading like every week. So it's just kind of whatever happens right now. I'll try to get better at the YouTube thing. But honestly, it's not my priority. I'm just going to be perfectly honest. I need some lighting equipment, need some camera equipment, need some tools. If you guys ever want to do any trades, if you have a tool, if you have camera equipment, lighting, microphone, anything that you think that I would be interested in, I have Nerf blasters. And I am looking to get out of the hobby. So thank you guys so much for watching. And I'll see you in the next one.